Well, I'll tell you what I think.
There are big corporate tax cuts that they're able to get away scot-free without paying taxes. Is this really, really we have to stick it to poor people?
One, income inequality is at an all-time high. Working class people are poorer than they were a generation ago, while the rich are richer than ever. Two, the banks got bailed out, the people got sold out, and all of us know that tax cuts for the rich are not the answer to the problem. And three, our politicians have been bought. We are now in an auction system, not an election system. If we want real democracy in this country, we need campaign finance reform, and we need it now. This is Jesse LaGreca saying stay safe and peaceful.
You'll never know how much they really listen. You'll never know how much they really care. 'Cause they don't. Listen, it's not really such a secret. Oh, the right wing is so wrong. Whoa, whoa.
Corporations don't pay taxes. Corporations collect taxes. They collect taxes from consumers who ultimately pay the tax. You add a tax to a product, and the consumer's going to pay more.
We have real problems in this country, like persistent unemployment.
We don't need more revenue. The American people aren't worried that they're taxed too little. It's that we spend too much.
Well, I want to make sure that we extend the tax cuts no matter what to prevent a double-dip recession.
Real problems, like declining levels of funding for education.
Rather than increasing taxes on foreign companies, we should bring the rate down.
Real problems, like crumbling infrastructure.
This is a pledge of this one sacred honor. And maybe that's the kind of thing that we need to get the truth, truly get the attention and sign it in blood if necessary. We think that it would be inappropriate at a time like this to raise people's taxes.
A tax cut isn't going to help me. I'm already at the bottom of the barrel despite having advanced education. I need more income. I don't need less tax burden.
Ronald Reagan 101 was that lowering taxes helps working families, grows the economy, and creates more revenue for government. Lowering taxes helps us pull out of recession. That tax cut, those tax cuts that George Bush put in place help grow our economy and make America more promising as it is today.
Closer, let me whisper in your ear, GOP. Say the words you don't want to hear. Tax cuts for the rich, they don't create jobs, no, listen. It's not really such a secret. Oh, the GOP's so wrong. Whoa, 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 closer. Let me say it very clearly. There's no trickle down from tax cuts for the rich. Listen up, we've had enough. Ooh.
Let me just break in because I want to pick up on exactly the point that you just brought up, particularly the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy. That is a part of the big Republican growth agenda. Let's not let expire the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy. Fact is, those would cost $678 billion over 10 years at a time when Republicans are saying that they can't extend unemployment benefits.
Facts. Tax cuts for the wealthiest 5% cost us $11.6 million every hour of every day, increasing our national debt by $3.3 trillion on borrowed money. The 400 wealthiest Americans are richer than 50% of all of us, which means 100 million households. The GOP plan, while there is more unemployment, is to freeze government spending, eliminate social services, cut federal jobs, raise Medicare costs, and generally do nothing to make up for the tax revenues lost from the Bush administration. Is that family values?
Sir, how are you going to, because we are running out of time, how are you going to pay the $678 billion just on the tax cuts for people making more than $200,000 a year?
You should never raise taxes in order to cut taxes. Surely, Congress has the authority, and it would be right to, if we decide we want to cut taxes to spur the economy, not to have to raise taxes in order to offset those costs.
You know, as things get steadily worse in this country, my dreams of changed. I used to think that maybe a cruise in the winter would be nice. Now I fantasize about access to dental care. Thank you so much, George Bush. Thank you for those tax cuts. They have done nothing for me except make me poorer.
You're being unresponsive to a question, which is, are tax cuts paid for going forward, or is it borrowed money at a time when you and other Republican leaders say we must get serious about the deficit? It's a straightforward question.
Yeah, I know, and I gave you a straightforward answer. What we're talking about here is raising taxes in the middle of what most Americans think is a recession. That isn't going to produce more revenue.
Every day, men expecting the promise of a bath in the middle of nowhere with their loved one, instead end up in emergency rooms all over America with erections lasting more than 4 hours. GOP, what is your plan to end this horrible pandemic?
Raising taxes in the middle of recession is not the way to go.
For a final time, I'll go back to my question, which is the extension of the tax cuts would cost $3.2 trillion. That's borrowed money that adds to the deficit. Do you have a plan to pay for that extension?
You're talking about current tax policy. Why did it all of a sudden become something that we, quote, paid for?
The GOP will tell you the problems in Europe are because of national health care. That's a very big lie. Let's use, as an example, Ireland, which went on a tax cut craze. Ireland unemployment has gone from 6.5% up to 14.4%. Ireland's very business tax friendly, 12.5% corporate rate, and it has not created jobs. Jobs have left Ireland, and the unemployment rate is very high, and it's a failure.
Shouldn't we create an environment in which all companies become even more competitive? One way to do this would be to lower the U.S. corporate tax rate.
One of our problems is that over 49 million Americans live in poverty, with a total income of just $22,000 a year for a family of 4.
But you should never have to offset the cost of a deliberate decision to reduce tax rates on Americans.
There's no amount of tax cutting that can cover something I simply can't afford.
Is the first thing to future the Bush tax cuts?
It is. We should extend the Bush tax cuts and make sure that we don't have a double dip recession. And I have the honor to be the first of 95 new Republicans coming to the Congress, fiscal conservatives, to help right our ship of state.
Whoa, 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 closer. Let me say it very clearly. Our voices now are being heard. Keep on speaking out.
We simply take the job creators and raise their taxes, the taxes on small businesses, subchapter S corporations, then we've missed the whole point.
And I can only hope that members of Congress who've been fighting so hard to protect tax breaks for the wealthy will fight just as hard to protect tax breaks for small business owners and middle-class families.
My American dream is a f***ing nightmare. How's yours?
That's pretty much it.